Yes.
Okay, what's up, everybody? We're on the record.
Perfect.
Hello,
Thank
boys.
you. Thank you, Gavin Mehl, for coming to our channel, or we are coming to your channel, whatever it is. First question for you. What is the Great Bitcoin Flippening?
Great Bitcoin Flippening. Well, that is a good question to start with. What a concept. I mean, this is the big opportunity that everybody's probably going to be wondering about over the next year, and how to get mega rich with Bitcoin. And it takes a little, you're going to have to do some research. You're going to have to figure things out on your own. I'm going to talk in riddles, and I'm not going to just tell you what to do. That's going to be the part for you to figure out. But once you start going back into the history of what happened with Bitcoin and where we are now with what's going on, you'll start to see the signs coming together, and the process is coming together to where we're going to see what's called the Great Bitcoin Flippening, where there'll be a massive opportunity for people who know how to capitalize on that. Now, I'm running with kind of like a meme, because originally, back when Daniel Kraitwitz first did the hyper Bitcoinization paper back in 2014, he talked about fiat flipping Bitcoin, and now it's evolved. And Jack Liu has done a bunch of shows with me as well, and he's talked about this flipping, kind of he called it BTC, flip BTC, I guess is what he originally called it. But now, I'm seeing it as much bigger than that, to where we have all these laws coming out. We have the Genius Act, we have the Clarity Act that's now going to likely be brought forward in the next couple of months. We have Terra Node release. We have the scaling of the original Bitcoin protocol all coming together, and we have the stagnant chain that Greg Maxwell had created. This altcoin, and so it's just stuck. So
You mean BTC?
BTC,
that's what.
it's stuck. And so it's yesterday I actually recorded a video yesterday where I've got these two influencers, and they're trying to figure this thing out. And there's a lot of people out there right now who are seeking truth, who are not corrupt. There are a lot of people who are just bad actors, but there's a lot of people who are just looking for the truth. They're influencers. They're trying to figure out what the heck is going on. And when they really get into it, they will find out what I found, which is the same thing, that this Great Bitcoin Flipping is going to happen. It's going to be through the liquidity changing on chain. And when the miners decide what chain is the most profitable to mine, it will flip overnight. Miners don't care about the actual, necessarily about some political ideology or religion. They just are seeking profit. And right now it's maybe a little bit more profitable to mine, let's say BTC, but it's not much. And over time, as it changes and there's more transactions that come on chain, the profitability will change. And that will cause the Great Bitcoin Flipping, along with these other factors. So it's a fun meme that I'm running with, and I believe that it's in our hands. The other thing is like the stable coins that are coming forward. That's also a part of it. As those transactions are building things on chain, we have this massive stablecoin legislation in the U.S. that's coming about, and I mean it is probably I believe the biggest opportunity in human history, in my opinion. So, and I think it's going to be an easy one for everyone to capitalize on, just by getting the information and learning about what it is, how they capitalize on it. And I think it's kind of a fun little riddle to not just tell people what to do, to let them figure it out on their own and do the research and see how they can benefit. Because it's there.
Wow, great description. I think our parishioners will be happy, as we say. Nuestros feligreses, because it was a point, like, to believe in BSV, you almost have to be like a parishioner, But yeah,
it's funny.
Technically, it's possible.
It's funny. The Terra Node, was it last year or so? The Terra Node group, they brought in. This is like, I don't want to use this word, so I'm not going to say that word. But anyways, the entire all the companies that are under the Calvinaire group, inside of Bitcoin. I don't say all, but let's say there's a big one called the Terra Node Group now. And the CEO, which formerly was possibly Ager Hansen, back in the day, but now he's this other guy, Giuliano, and who I've made a kind of a friendly relationship with. And he came out and visited me about a month ago, actually maybe a little bit less than that, in San Francisco. And that was his question exactly. He's like, what is this Great Bitcoin Flippening? When is it happening? And what's it all about? And so we sat down and we had a long meeting about it, and we kind of made a lot of jokes. And I think It's possible that I think that Calvin wanted to know about it as well. I mean, because he works directly for him. We haven't heard from Calvin, but he did tell me that Calvin Air is 1 million behind supporting the original vision of Bitcoin, and seeing it scale, seeing it grow, and seeing it succeed. No matter what, he's committed. So it's exciting time, man.
Yeah, you mentioned the Clarity Act and the Genius Act. Can you develop a bit more? What is that about?
Two laws in the United States. One of them has already passed. It's called the Genius Act, and that went into law in July of 2025. What that established was a regulatory framework for stablecoins in the U.S. So right now, we have these stablecoins, and I believe it's the United States intent to have Tether and these other companies acquire the U.S. debt through holding treasuries. By holding the treasuries, they then will be able to back their stable coins with actual treasuries from the U.S. debt. And so it is what hasn't been established yet is the actual rails. How is the stable coins going to work? Are they going to be on chain through overlays? Or is it just going to be some old fiat? I mean, we that's all going into committees right now. And so we have I think in the next couple of weeks, we'll have our first report out from the Treasury of the United States with some of the feedbacks on the anti-money laundering laws, the KML laws that are being reviewed right now, and how they will work with the new stablecoin legislation. So that is happening 100%. Now, that first one, the Genius Act, is important because these state banks, the community-sized banks in the United States, if they don't get on board with adopting this new stablecoin legislation, they're going to get left in the dust. They're actually going to become dinosaurs and obsolete. So they must adapt. The federal side, they're going to adapt. They're bringing it forward. It's happening. It's just a matter of these smaller sized banks are a real opportunity for guys like us as consultants, where we learn about it and we can help to show them the best way forward and show them the best rails, the cheapest, most effective, the most legal, compliant ways to do this stablecoin. Because I mean, when I started using I went into Rockwall and I used the Money MNEE stablecoin.
Correct.
Man,
Yes. We also use that. It's amazing,
man.
And you don't need gas. You don't need the gas.
I mean, it's just gasless. It's just cheap. It's fast. I mean, it's just amazing. I mean, I love what they're doing, those guys with Ron Tater and Harbin. And I mean, I really think that once people start to see what it is, they're going to really see the benefit, the value. It's such a game changer. Now, the Clarity Act. The Clarity Act is the second set of laws that are coming in the United States right now. They haven't passed, but they're going into committee on the 15th. Into the Senate. They went through the House already, then they're going to go to the Senate. We got two branches of government, the Senate and the House in Congress, and then it goes to the president. So it's passed the House, it's going into the Senate. What it says in the Clarity Act is it's a 267-page bill, and it defines a mature blockchain system. And in a mature blockchain system is defined under the Clarity Act as one that is not centrally controlled. It's not something that had a pre-mine to it, where somebody just pre-mined all the tokens, Jed McCaleb style, or XRP style. It has to be a fair, open launch, like the original Bitcoin protocol. I don't think there's anything else that was like an open launch, and then it can't just be centrally controlled. It has to have a long history, and I really believe it as a proof of work. I believe that people like Brian Armstrong of Coinbase are going to be lobbying against the Clarity Act to have it changed and the way it's written, because it could potentially affect the crypto, the whole cryptocurrency bubble right now. It could potentially affect it, not because they're going to be illegal, but because these cryptos could potentially become securities, and then the mature blockchain, which would be the original Bitcoin, that would be a commodity.
Because one of the conditions to be a mature blockchain is that you have to have rules which do not change. Like you cannot change the rules, like the main the protocol. That's why BSV would be.
That's one of the parts in the legislation right now, is that when the system launches, it has to have rules, and then rules have to remain the same. If it launches and then 3 years later the whole system changes to a whole new set of rules, becomes proof of stake, for example, Ethereum, that's not a mature blockchain. Same thing with BTC Core. I mean, everything changed. Everything completely went to an altcoin. I mean, that's just not going to qualify, in my opinion, as a mature blockchain. Now, what they have to do is these developers, Greg Maxwell, will have to come forward and make a declaration under penalty of perjury and say, hey, our system is a mature blockchain, and here's why. I swear under penalty of perjury under the laws of the United States, and I'm willing to go to jail over this. Then he puts that in. That's what'll have to happen. Now, we will probably see a lot of people lying and doing that, but then there'll have to be consequences for that. So that's where I see this evolving next if it passes committee. It's a huge paradigm shift in our whole financial system.
Well, that would be a great development. Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, I didn't know about the Clarity Act, and I didn't know about that definition of a mature blockchain, because that would rule out XRP completely, because XRP was completely pre-mined. But it would also rule out other blockchains. I mean, even Ethereum was partially pre-mined, or Polygon, or many other blockchains that we know.
It's just not a fair. I mean, they're trying to make it equitable, and fair. And when the three of us come together and we get to pre-mine all our system and we become super rich and dump it on everybody else, that may be okay, but it's just not a mature blockchain. It's not going to be a commodity, that it's not going to be under this act as a commodity.
Exactly. It would be security.
It'd be a security.
Just looked at Solana, which is right now the #1 utility blockchain in terms of usage. And it's also being pre-mined in a large portion. So
it's sad, but unfortunately, as we know, I mean, most of the entire crypto market is a Ponzi, unfortunately. So it's sad, but I think it is what it is. A lot of security offerings, and a lot of people got super rich. And I just warn people against crypto overall. It's dangerous, man.
And in relation with this Clarity Act, did you see Senator Wendy Rogers recently publishing a tweet about BSV? She's a senator.
Yeah, Wendy Rogers. I personally know her social media, guy. As a matter of fact, I don't want to out him, but we have what's called we have Dan Scavino in the United States, and he runs everything for President Trump. He's his right-hand man. He runs all social media. He's his chief of staff in the White House. And so this guy who I know is also that for Wendy. And so he wrote that post. Obviously it's under her name, but they clearly see what's going on. It was a price prediction post, which is cool. I think it's at least something. It's great to see that it's in the consciousness of people. And I mean, as a newbie or just an investor, I guess that's all you may care about is like a price. But I just think there's so much more to this than just looking at a price chart. Like the fundamentals of utility and the use and where we're going with this legislation and all this is really what I'm looking at, like going forward.
And that's what was mentioned in the tweet about the use cases, the scaling of this blockchain. So basically, it's good to know that they know. At least someone of the legislators knows that.
Well, it's not only there. If you read inside the report that Bo Hines made in the summer and in July, I made a video about it. And Bo Hines was the guy that pretty much wrote the Genius Act. And so he wrote a report talking about the implementation of these stablecoins. It's 181 pages or so. And inside of that, he links to a John Southworth CoinGeek article. And inside that article, it's in the federal government's report. Inside that article is a talk with none other than, Craig Satoshi Wright himself having a sit-down fireside chat with Jimmy Wynn in Japan, Tokyo, defining the entire backstory of creating Bitcoin. That's in that article inside that Bo Hines wrote on over there at the federal government. So they know.
Okay,
they link
but they still the great public doesn't know yet about BSV.
And that's a good thing. I think that's where the opportunity comes in. Like, thank God they don't, because as soon as the public finds out, we will have the flippening. That's what will happen.
Yes, I know.
And that's what will cause the great flippening, the great Bitcoin flippening.
When do you foresee that, actually? Because actually, I was listening to some of your videos, and you were even adventuring yourself to say, well, it's coming. It's coming.
if you want to have fun with it, I believe that I'm on a bigger purpose than this, and I think that I was sent on some sort of a prophetic mission of some kind, and I do have I think I had a spiritual experience, a little bit of an out of body experience back in 2006, and it's a you kind of gave me a purpose in life. It really gave me a new purpose in life, like a born again experience, and I found that experience I believe. Put me on something to do with the November 30th of this year. I think is going to, I just feel like there's something that tells me that, November 30th.
Wait a minute. Can you please explain to us?
Well, I mean, ultimately,
you had an experience like
November 30th, 2006. I had an experience like kind of an out of body spiritual experience, and it was like I was like inspired by God, the hand of God, and by that day, and I was really touched, and it was about this just kind of like a vision that was given at that time, and I do believe that vision is, for the last 20 years. When it first happened, I thought it was like going to happen immediately. The vision. I thought, it's going to happen immediately. I'm supposed to go out and lift up humanity and spread love and prosperity to humanity, and all the little people are going to be lifted up, And I thought that was just going to happen, but it didn't work that way. It was a long-term thing, and I think that something tells me that it's going to come. Something tells me that it would come this year by the end of the year. But I don't know. I do believe that it's going to happen. That's kind of been my gut instinct, that we've got about another year left. So I'm going to just keep adding enough momentum, keep adding momentum as much as I can before it happens. And when it flips, all the little people who are knowing about it in advance, it's funny to laugh about. Like, can you imagine if you had 1,000 BTC? Oh, Rich, I was just thinking about like how crazy that is. It's just
But do you think this will be happening all of a sudden and very fast?
Well, I do think it'll happen all of a sudden. It will happen sooner. It will happen later, and then all of a sudden sooner, because of the way the miners work in these nodes. So when the miners decide that it's more profitable to mine on one chain, they will flip.
Yeah,
they will just flip.
Yeah, and this will happen if really the BSV is used. With Terranode for millions of transactions per second.
That would be a for sure way. I think that's the inevitable way. Now, what's going to cause all those transactions? That's us. We have to build the demand. We have to build the businesses and the stablecoin infrastructure. In a realistic way, we've got the stablecoin legislation, and the rails won't be in effect for like another 3 years in the United States. So to be more realistic, I would say that we still have probably about 3 more years, because then by that point we'll have these rails all built, and the new financial system. They don't say new financial system in the bill, but that's kind of what it is. It's a new stablecoin financial system. It's a better financial system that'll be used in about 3 years.
But I heard the president of SEC. Of the ACC of America, he said that within 2 years, everything will be like tokenized, all the financial assets. I couldn't believe that. It's not feasible. They don't have the infrastructure to do that.
2 years seems a little bit premature, but
exactly. And Larry Fink, again, also of BlackRock, he's pushing also this narrative that everything must be in the blockchain. But for that, even if they use BSV, which is the only scalable blockchain, a lot of infrastructure has to be built. It's not there yet.
Yeah, it does. A lot of it has to be built. And I really think that we've got a couple amazing protocols, like the STAS protocol, the MetaNet protocol. These are even the David Case stuff that he's done with what is it? Him and Kurt had worked on. What's the one with David Case? It's the anyways, there's some really good protocols that are building on chain. I think that's the way forward.
The BRC 100 now.
BRC 100 is the token, is the wallet standard, the vendor neutral wallet standard that Babbage should put out for MetaNet, which is super important. That's a game changer, because we got to have a universal wallet protocol, so all wallets are welcome. We shouldn't have to use one wallet. Everybody should be able to pick the wallet they want to use, and then it has a standard. That's what BRC 100 is. But yeah, I think the having things go like on sats, Sats are so key. We don't need another token offering when we can
Mhm.
just use Sats.
Yeah, sats, which are basically a token for each Satoshi on the
Yeah,
blockchain.
each Satoshi. Exactly. Each Satoshi, which are what, 100 quadrillion Satoshis or something like that. So,
Yeah, yeah,
each one of those represent a piece of data. And
yeah.
that's what that protocol is that David Case, had built with Luke. What is that thing called? One sat ordinals.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, they're putting data on chain with the sats. Now, there's debates on that, like whether that's the best way or is it the STAS protocol? Because if you look at the stuff that the guys did over there at that trading platform, they trade futures, DXS.
Yeah.
DXS will tell you that STAS is the only and best way to go. And so there's kind of a debate, a technical debate on that, which I'm really interested and fascinated to have talks on. I'll do another show tomorrow, bringing live debate on things like that. I love hearing about that. Like, what's the best way forward? Is it
Mm.
STAS or is it one sat? And these are technical issues that need to be discussed.
Exactly.
So, but I
At
do
this
think
point,
that having yeah, go ahead, Naka.
yeah, at this point, I would, because you mentioned also your experience in 2006 and everything. Who is Gavin Mehl at this point? We would like to know who are you that you have decided to talk about BSV so prominently. What brought you to BSV?
Well, I would say, it's ultimately, I say I heard about a theory. I first heard about the overall, what was it, the Ethereum. I got into some sort of a scam in 2015, and I got rugged on a crypto scam, and then I stopped for about a year till I got introduced to Ethereum right around early 2016 from a buddy of mine in person. He showed me how to use it. And I didn't have anything to do with Bitcoin at that time, but I started buying the ICOs, reading the papers, and I just wanted to get rich quick is all I was interested in. So, I wanted to try to get involved in the pump on everybody and dump all my coins on the next guy. So that was what I was thinking was going to be great. And then I started learning more about the protocol, and the thing stopped working. Ethereum stopped completely working on me. So I thought I'm going to try to find out more about Bitcoin. And then the stuff with Roger Ver started coming out. There was a guy called Ryan X Charles in San Francisco. I was living in San Francisco, and he was here. I didn't know him personally, but he made a lot of videos about the scaling wars with Bitcoin. So I followed that closely, and then I watched the BCH stuff came out. I made some content. I was already a YouTuber starting around 2016. I started building my channel. And so I made some content around 2017, around that time, about Bitcoin. I thought I was really, really interested and excited about what was happening with Bitcoin Cash at that time. And then, after that happened, I actually stopped following the Bitcoins around 20. I think I put everything on cold storage around end of 2017, 2018. I just got super confused with what was happening. And I didn't follow anything that happened in 2018, 2019, 2020. I didn't follow any of that stuff at all. So it wasn't until more around 2022, that I really was like, let me look back at this. And I wanted to find out more about what happened with the Bitcoins. And so I saw that Jimmy Wynn was coming into a talk in Silicon Valley. And so I said, I need to meet somebody in person. He was coming out here. He was the president of the Bitcoin Association at the time, and Nchain. And so I thought, let me go and check this guy out. So I met him in person. He introduced me to Scrypt, Bruce Liu, Chaowei Liu, and he introduced me to him, and we became friends. I went out to Dubai, and I got to meet a ton of people in Dubai. Shortly thereafter that, I saw everybody in person. I saw the talk that Craig did, there in Dubai, where he challenged Ethereum. And none of that stuff's online anymore. It was just an honor to be there because they've completely those videos and talks are all gone. I don't know where they are.
It's a pity,
But
yeah.
yeah, so I went to that, and then I've been to pretty much most of the major events after that. I think I went to the London one after that. Then I went to London again after that, and then last year again was London. So I've been to all the major events and stuff in San Francisco. I've been to a couple of hackathons and hosting spaces online for this. And my background is I'm a non-lawyer, so I'm not formally trained in the law, but I'm more of an entrepreneur. I've been to court a bunch of times and I had learned how the court systems work, and so I have a kind of knack for the legal system. but I'm definitely not an attorney. So, just more of a business guy that, right now my passion is making content. I love making content and building an audience and, having fun with it. I really, really enjoy it.
And that's great. Actually, congratulations for your content. Actually, you are very, very hardworking. You produce a lot of videos and very interesting ones.
Thank you.
So I wanted to ask also about that mysterious film, Killing Satoshi. Was it being shot in London, or did you see anything about the production of this film?
Yeah. I did get put under what's called a non-disclosure on certain about that. So I have to be careful on what I talk about.
For sure.
But there's some stuff online that you can read about what is online, and it does say that the online stuff. It says that there was a film being filmed in London at that time. It was around the time that I was, in October. They were filming with Casey Affleck and them, and it's probably best to do the research online for that, because I am under a contract for
undisclosed.
Okay.
Yeah,
Of course.
from what I can talk about.
That's fine. That's all fine.
But sorry, just because I didn't know this. But what did you have access to the filming, or you were?
He cannot say anything. He cannot say.
Oh, okay. Forget it.
It's probably, it's pretty broad.
Subject.
Probably best for me not to talk about that, openly.
Okay, let's change the subject. No worries.
Sorry about that. I would volunteer it if I could, but I did. Yeah,
that's fine. Okay, so you are so much now into BSV as we are, because we also are following BSV actually since since the split of BCH with the BTC, and then later, of course, the drama of the hash war and everything else. And you have become such a I think intrepid warrior for BSV. Like it's really like it's a great demonstration of faith into this technology, because you have talked to the people. You said, okay, I wanted to meet this guy as a Jimmy Wynn, and when he came, he went to San Francisco or to Silicon Valley. You went, you talked to him. By the way, he's not anymore there. He's not anymore in the BSV circle for whatever reasons. But you have already gained some knowledge that you want to transmit to the people. What is your motivation? You want to be a catalyst in this process, or you want to that as many people as possible benefit from that flippening that you foresee, and beyond that, because it's not only about the financial benefit. It's about the freedom. Yes, exactly. It's about that.
Let me take you inside the mind of as to why I'm passionate about this from my legal background. All right, so in our founding documents, and I'm a constitutional expert. I'm a scholar in the Constitution and the background of these founders, and how I'm really passionate about how our republic here was set up. So we have this amazing doctrine that was called the Constitution, and it was put together by a young prodigy guy by the name of Madison, and it wasn't Jefferson. Jefferson is our chief founding father, and he wrote the Declaration of Independence, but he was gone during the writing of the Constitution. He wasn't here. He was as an ambassador to France, and he was away. And so when Madison was doing the Constitution and then the Bill of Rights, and it was being argued back and forth at the Continental Congress, he actually brought forward that original Bill of Rights, saying that only gold and silver were going to be legal tender under Article 1, Section 10. And then he wrote what was called the Federalist Papers. He wrote, multiple Federalist Papers, which was published in a newspaper at the time after the Constitution was ratified. And in there, he talked about how one of the things he talked about was the wretched, he called it like a wretched and evil, he despised fiat currency. He despised the giving the people giving their power to an institution as a middleman between their way to transact. He didn't use the way that we have it now we have this Bitcoin white paper where it says peer to peer, but in the principles it was the same. He realized in those papers that the people have power when they can transact with each other. The moment that the Federal Reserve and these banks get in the middle of it, they can take the people's power away and tell the people what they can and can't do. And they can charge money to the people, and it limits the people's power, like we've seen many, many times now. So the reason that we have this amazing opportunity that I'm so passionate about is that we have the ability to transact peer-to-peer. And that's why the original Bitcoin is so important. All these other systems that have in any way enabled a middleman, whether it's Blockstream or whether it's Square or whether it's Lightning Network or whether it's a fiat middleman through a bank, I think they still have a place in the world. And I don't think they'll still have a place in the world. But we got to have a way to transact peer-to-peer, because I'm excited about cash. When I see you in person and I pay you in cash and you pay me in cash, it just puts a smile on my face, because I know that it's me and you and there's nobody involved. And even though we're using a fake paper currency, at least we're in cash. And then with Bitcoin, we have that same opportunity right now. All of this is done peer-to-peer. And I think that one of the things I'm doing right now with the Great Bitcoin Flippening is the swaps. So we had a couple shows, and I wanted to bring forward a way to have developers build a swap. And there's something called Swap Lobby now. And there's another swap thing that just came out recently where these people can swap their cryptos
from BTC to BSV and vice versa.
With peer-to-peer. Through a smart contract. That smart contract is pre-programmed, and it can be verified on chain. And they can say, wow, look at this. I got my crypto in BTC. I want to get it over here to Bitcoin SV. And how do I do it? Well, I don't have to go to an exchange and another third party and another middleman. We've got plenty of that. You could do it, but by pushing this peer-to-peer, version of Bitcoin and using this structure, we empower each other.
And you don't need KYC for that, because it's
you don't need KYC for that. You don't need KYC. You don't need any to ask permission. It's me and you. We transact in cash, peer-to-peer.
The embodiment of this freedom concept that you mentioned about the fathers of the
I mean,
web.
those who control the money control the people. That's just the way it works. I mean, that's just been their plan. So by us taking control of our own money again and our ability to transact, we're empowered. That's the most empowering thing we can do. We don't have to change all the laws. We don't have to get rid of everybody, but we transacting peer-to-peer, that's freedom.
That's powerful. Very powerful.
That's what Bitcoin does, So that's why I think the more and more as we grow over time, and I mean the opportunity is huge, because not only us, but we have the small micro transactions which are going to be utilized through the AIs and the large language models. It's not necessarily that you and I are going to use them, but we need to have a way to tokenize and show all the research the AIs are doing, because in my industry, we have a big problem with the AIs. They lie and they cheat, and they just will not tell the truth about what they're doing, and you have no way to back it up. So I need a way to track all the decisions they're making, and show me where you came up with that information. Oh, you just, so there has to be a way to show that and tokenize all of it. And we know there's only one way. One of the most amazing things at the conference I think I saw, which is under talked about, is this guy called Latif Ladid, and it's a really advanced concept. But he's the chairman of the IPv6 protocol, and it's adding extra web addresses into the internet. So we got IPv4, which is a few smaller web address protocol, but a lot of the world they use IPv6, which is more web addresses. And now that we have these, the large language models, and everybody's got a 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, computer devices in they're around them and in their home at all times. Each one of them needs a web address, and by having it, blend with the blockchain, it's this perfect unified harmonious connection. And he said it at the conference himself. I mean, he said, it's not that we're agnostic. We'll work with any blockchain. We don't care. But the only one that works, that's legal, that's compliant, that blends with IPv6 is the BSV blockchain protocol. That's it.
Yeah, correct.
And so it's we're a little bit early, but being early is a good thing, I think. So
I'm usually early also in my investments, but rarely wrong.
yeah.
Okay. Perfect. I wanted to ask you also about quantum resistant Bitcoin. What is that about? You mentioned that often in your videos. Quantum resistant Bitcoin.
Yeah,
Is
there was
BSV the
I had a
resistant?
space a couple weeks ago, and there's a gentleman who built a protocol, and he basically proved that. See, okay, here's the problem that was trying to be solved. I was over there at the London Blockchain Conference, and one of these fintech girls comes up to me, and the first question she has for me was, "Well, is Bitcoin can it be hacked by a quantum computer?" She was worried about quantum computers, and they're going to hack into her Bitcoin wallets. So I brought over Kurt Walker Jr., and he dropped off this just high level technical explanation that only Kurt could do, and he showed her why it's not a concern. But this quantum resistant protocol, like that was on that video that I made, was an implementation on the protocol to where it shows that Bitcoin is quantum resistant. And by utilizing this protocol, you can have a completely quantum resistant Bitcoin wallet, Bitcoin protocol with your Bitcoin. So you don't have to worry about it being hacked by a AI quantum computer. And yeah, that was a really smart guy called Bert that built that. He came on and open sourced it. It's a real protocol, like a demonstration, basically.
So basically, BSV is. Can we say it's the only blockchain which is ready for the just quantum era?
I would, I don't know about that. It's hard to say, but I just don't see anything else being mature enough. Nothing. I mean, it's the only one that's been around for 17 years. I mean, it's just, and that's the unfair thing about it is saying BSV, because people think BSV has only been around since 2018. But that's not true.
Correct. And BSV is still yes, Moto.
No, in fact, I think it's the opposite. I think people in BSV are the OGs of Bitcoin. They come from Bitcoin Cash and from BTC. I mean, from the original Bitcoin, they follow the original path.
Yeah.
And the OGs have in their wallets all these three different splits, BTC, BCH, BSV. Most of them still have all of them in their wallets.
Yeah. It's like the grandfather Bitcoin. When you have the original Bitcoin, you got all of it in there. That's just so valuable.
So by listening to your videos, I also came across to this concept of liquidity absorption through these atomic swaps. Basically, like you are very confident that could be the way by which BSV profits from the enormous liquidity that BTC has. How can you?
So when I put that challenge out there a couple weeks ago, I actually looked into it myself, and I thought, there's got to be a way to build this atomic swap protocol. And so I went over to my developer friend in China, and then I went over to Scrypt, and I found out that Scrypt had written a paper in 2023 showing that it could be done. And there was a way it could be done through smart contracts. And so I started looking into it, and it was somebody had actually John Calhoun and his brother just recently beat me to it, and he came out and launched something called Swap Lobby, and it's live now. It's the atomic swap Scrypt contract, BTC to BSV, where the two parties come together and they can swap right on chain. It's all verifiable, no middleman, no KYC, and it happened live. Just off of that show that I did, these developers came forward and built it, and I mean that's really the power of the community that we have right now. I think it's for as a BTC guy. If I'm holding a lot of BTC, do I want to go and I put all my BTC over on an exchange? And maybe, but wouldn't it be better to just do a peer-to-peer swap and keep it private? You know, private
Absolutely.
transaction. I think people in BTC, people in Bitcoin, they like privacy. So I do believe that's the way forward.
If this doesn't happen this way, do you see in the horizon any other killer app for
Well,
BSV?
Limit is the killer app in my opinion. So that's the big one because you know
Which
the
one?
internet is so you know passionate about these pictures and you know these videos. And I do believe that the content creator model is the killer app. So that's where I'm most bullish on for sure. You know, is Lament. I think that they're by far the one that is so
Do
far
you want to
advanced.
develop a bit more about that, about this Lament app?
Yeah, I mean it's a content. It hasn't truly launched yet. You know, so it's still in its kind of early beta stage, even though it's very advanced. But what it is it's think of like an Instagram for paid content creators, where the content creator they have their fan base and they can post a picture or a video, short video on it, and they could charge for it. Now, what we're missing to really build the final bridge is the final payment rails. We don't quite, you know, Bitcoin quite doesn't have the payment rails perfect yet. So once we have that,
from fiat to BSV, you mean, and the other way around.
should be one click. So it should be one click to do that, and we don't have that yet. We still have resistance from the banks. So the banks don't. They want to flag it, and they say it's spam. So a lot of times.
Yeah.
So we just need seamless credit card, one click, Apple Pay, Google Pay, boom, boom. That's all it should be.
Yeah.
Once that happens, then we'll have a nice, seamless, you know, massive launch.
And in this way, you think that these creators would receive the proceedings directly without such a big middleman like in other apps?
Yeah, the creators get paid instantly, and they're paid peer to peer, and they can be paid in
microtransactions for
micropayments.
every exactly micropayments.
Yeah, if they want micropayments, 20 cents, 15 cents, you want to pay 10 cents, you want to pay $5, whatever, and it's automatic. You know, the other providers, these other protocols out there, you know, they have usually like large minimums, you know, so it's not the same. So I do think that's going to be the way forward. It's a really exciting, in my opinion, it's the most exciting, you know, app because it's just sexy. It's sexy. It's not sexy as in bad, but it's just it's a sexy feel to it. You know, I really believe.
Okay, that's well, but however, if we look at the chart of BSV, we are all close to the all-time lows, and it feels like for everyone who has believed in this project, like it is like slowly, like dying. Is it? Of course, according to what you have said today, it's far from dying. Actually, it will be lifted like the phoenix, but I mean, it is a very strong contrast. That looking at the chart, however, knowing that this is the best tech out there in the blockchain world, so what will change the trend?
Yeah, I mean, what's gonna change the entire trend is, for sure, as we know, is the Clarity Act. The Clarity Act and the Genius Act. The Genius Act's passed. We know that's coming forward. It's already happened. We've got a trend over these rails that they're going to be adopted in the United States over the next few years to adopt stablecoins. This is going to demand transactions on chain. These smaller size banks, mid-level banks, are going to demand that stablecoin usage. And if you think they're going to want to pay more money for their stablecoin usage, you don't understand how banks work. You know.
Do you think these other stable coins like using blockchains like how is that? Is Solana, Ethereum? You know better, Moto. The other blockchains that are used by the stable coins.
Yeah,
Well,
are they gonna lose?
Ethereum is too expensive and too slow. But
Ethereum is
what about
expensive.
Solana?
You use Solana's quite cheap, but people normally go to layer two. In fact, 70% of all USDC transactions in the world, which is more than 1 billion a day, are on the Polygon network.
Polygon, yes, exactly. Or Tron also.
Tron is very expensive. It's shit.
Okay.
Well,
So
isn't
are they
Polygon a
gonna
layer two?
lose?
Sorry?
Is Polygon layer two?
It is a layer two, yeah. Then there's some others like Arbitrium and others, but Polygon is got the lion's share.
Yeah, I mean, it's not comparing apples to apples. So, it's just, yeah, we could always go back into a fiat model. Layer two is fiat 2.0. That's all layer two is.
Absolutely.
We already have that. So we can stay with what we have now. We don't need Polygon. We'll just use what we have. Let's use Swift.
Yeah, I mean, BSB would be amazing because it's a layer zero or layer one, whatever you want to call it, and the fees are lower than Polygon, and it's faster. So it should be the one.
Yeah. Okay. Right now, MNEE money. So there's the stablecoin based on BSV has a market capitalization of $101 million. So we have to grow way, way, way more in order to challenge all these giants.
Yeah. When I was in London, there it was cool. They gave their talk on stage. It was Ron Tater is the founder of Money and Rock Wallet, and then Harbin gave his talk and came off, and everybody had all these questions. I'm like, listen, guys, why don't we go on over here? Let's get all these questions on camera. We'll do a panel, and I'll bring a bunch of people over here. So we went over into the corner, and we had all this. Moto was there. He saw we had this great panel with the guys from Money, and we had all these questions from the audience. It was so cool to get Ron Tater out there, answering questions. And they've got a brand new thing where they're launching. It's all other types of stable coins. They convert into money in a swap. It's their new product.
Also, think about that. So Money, $101 million market cap, is basically 1/4 of the capitalization of BSV. BSV has 387 million right now capitalization. Wow. That's crazy compared to Money. This connect with much. It's crazy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, it's so amazing. It's incredible opportunity. I mean, I got the opportunity to spend like the last month with basically the founder of the blockchain. She was the one that put on the blockchain conference, not the conference itself, but the whole Bitcoin Palace experience. And she did all this major event work in there in London. And she came out and she really helped. She's an educator she's Blockchain Academy. That's what it is. CEO of the Blockchain Academy. So she really does education on the protocol, and she goes after whales and family offices and educates them on how the blockchain, on how things work. Because a lot of these people, they just want to know, like, they think they know Bitcoin. They're very arrogant. They think they know it, but they have no idea what they're doing. And when they really begin to understand Bitcoin, then they see they want to know the opportunity. Where's the opportunity? And there's not maybe speculation. Okay. But I mean, really the real opportunity is like, investing in the companies that are going to be building this Web3 protocol, the MetaNet companies, the Babbages, these types of guys that are really building this infrastructure, the swap lobby, atomic swaps. How can we, or these other, even whales, invest in these types of companies or build these companies for Web3 going forward? We're only going to have this one Web3. There's not going to be a million Web3s. It's coming.
Yeah.
And people are going to get rich off of it, mega rich.
Well, we can say this is a generational opportunity, because for what do you say? It looks like we are at the bottom of the opposite, the chance, because we are looking at the chart, we are really at the bottom. Can we go lower than we are now? Who cares? But if later the upside is so big,
it could go lower. I mean, if BTC crashes down way low to like, let's say 50 grand or so, it could go lower. I don't think it's gonna drive the flip. As BTC crashes, The flip that until the flip happens, the great Bitcoin flipping happens, it could bring it lower. Because remember, it's all priced in Tether right now.
Yeah.
So we've got funny money pumping up the market.
Mhm.
You know, so it's an artificial bubble.
Yeah. It's
But
funny you
even
said
with
that, the funny money, because precisely the Genius Act is what they want to finish. If you want to have Tether, all good and well, but it's got to be backed by government bonds, not by wet paper.
Yeah. Yeah. And Tether's going to have to be legit in the next 3 years.
I didn't know they had that long. I didn't know it was they have 3 years to convert uh, all their reserves to debt, to government bonds
Yeah. They're
or
going to
whatever.
have to be fully auditable in the next 3 years. So, right
right,
now we have no idea what's going on with Tether.
that's
Mhm.
crazy. That's crazy that, but it's good for the governments if everything has to be like put into these government bonds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, I think the name, the reason why it's called Genius is because it's a great way for the government to sell debt.
It's honestly, that's exactly what it is. The government is selling its debt to Tether.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, Tether.
And then they make to all the countries of the world accessible this digital dollar.
And if the
Yes.
debt defaults, Tether might go out of business. Oh, well.
Great. Moto, any question?
No, it's really been a pleasure talking to you, Gavin. You're so eloquent. You explain so well, the Clarity Act, the Genius Act. You're obviously very well versed in the history of Bitcoin. You explained it really well. It's been lovely to interview you, actually. It's been a great, great pleasure.
Thank you, Moto.
And anything from your side, Gavin, to finish off this interview?
You know, I'm doing like a live show on X. I do spaces on X. People can watch those if they want to join in live. People will come in and talk live, and sometimes I'll do guests. Sometimes I'll just do them, impromptu. But I'm going to do one on Sunday right now. Tomorrow I'll do a live show on Sunday on X in the morning, like at 11 Pacific. And I have a YouTube channel that on YouTube I'm pumping out a lot of content. Basically based on ultimately, I mean, I'm passionate about freedom. And so freedom is really my true passion. But because of this peer-to-peer system that we have on Bitcoin, it's drawn me to it. Because I understand the value of transacting peer-to-peer and how it enables and empowers freedom. So it's helping people understand, learn more about that, and ultimately helping to show people what's in it for them if they can understand and get their heads around the great Bitcoin flipping, because that's the real fun. I think the most exciting thing that we're ever going to see is there's only going to be one great Bitcoin flipping. It's not going to be any other way. This is it. There's not any other chains. You're not going to flip some altcoin out there.
It's one in a lifetime opportunity,
It's
basically.
one in a lifetime. There's one, and that's it. And we get to bring it forward and champion it. And so I just want to help educate people so that they can make the right decision help them make the decision so the little people can win.
Yeah, we will put your channel in the comments of our video, so don't worry about that. And yes, I recommend really people follow Gavin Mehl. If you don't understand him, because we have our audience in Spanish, most of them actually. We are starting now publishing more in English, but many of our audience is in Spanish speaking. So I will recommend put the translator of these subtitles in Spanish so that they can follow you. You are someone really worth following.
Okay.
And
I'll do that. I think I'll check and make sure I have subtitles in Spanish.
I tell to the followers to do that. But maybe I don't know. You have to enable that for check in the settings.
I'll make sure I have it enabled. I think I do.
Exactly. But anyway, we will, for your information, we will make also a small summary video in Spanish, exclusively in Spanish for our audience also about this interview with you.
Nice. Yeah. Thank you. It's really awesome to be here. I mean, everybody just get out there and don't be afraid to get on camera, make content, and it's our time. This is the greatest time to be alive right now in human history. We're at such a special place and time here in the U.S. and worldwide to establish more freedom and more rights back to the people. And it all comes down and starts with this original Bitcoin protocol, transacting peer-to-peer, as it says in the white paper. So let's and also meet in person. Like when Moto and I met in person there in London, that's why I'm here. I wouldn't be meeting with him if it wasn't because of that. So we meet people in person, go to an event and connect with your local community. When I met with the Elle from the London Blockchain Conference, she actually got started. And let me just share this amazing story here on closing. And so she's an educator in Bitcoin, in blockchain. And so what an amazing story this is. So she
who is she? The name?
So it's blockchain. Let me think. It's called blockchainacademy.info. That's her website. And so on that website, she learned about Bitcoin. So 2010, she went to a meetup. I think it was back in 2010, and she got a little keychain. It said B on it. And she didn't really get too involved back in the early days, but she carried that keychain around with her, little B for Bitcoin on her keychain for 10 years. 10 years she's stuck in Mexico on lockdown and sitting there at a house with no internet, no power, no money, and all she's got is this keychain and sitting there just like, what am I going to do? I can't leave. I don't know what to do. I've already got money. I can't get out of here. So she looks back and the sun hits this little keychain. It says B on it. And she thinks, she goes over to it and it turns out it opened up. Inside of it, it's been sitting on her keychain for 10 years. Inside of it was the Bitcoin white paper on a small little thumb drive. She's like, oh my gosh. She grabs her thumb drive, puts it in her computer with no internet, reads the 8-page white paper, and studies it over the next however long for her to read it. Like, because it takes a long time, and she's smart. It took her a long time to read it. She starts reading through it. Next thing you know, she's like, the light bulb went off in her head just by really studying that white paper, looking at all the words. And then she started posting these signs in Mexico saying, come learn about Bitcoin, learn about Bitcoin from an expert, a teacher. And one little girl shows up, like a 7-year-old girl at her conference in Mexico. And she didn't even speak Spanish. So this little girl shows up, she ends up being an American, and she's like, I want to learn about Bitcoin. She's like, well, you're only 7 years old. I was like, I don't care. I want to learn. So she ends up teaching this little girl about how Bitcoin works to a little kid as her first student. And that's how it starts. And then it just started compounding from there to where she began building this business about educating people about how the Bitcoin protocol works and, how the whole backstory and everything. And it's when you start to really get a fundamental understanding about that and what Merkle trees are, which I'm learning, I'm becoming better at, and how the technology actually works. It's super empowering. You really start to become empowered.
Oh, yes.
So I encourage everyone to learn as much as you can.
People forgot about the Bitcoin white paper and only focus on number go up. That's the problem. That's the bottom of the problem. Okay, great, Gavin. Thank you so much. See you next time. And the way you finish all your videos, see you at the top.
See you at the top.
Exactly. Great.
Yeah. Thank you, Naka. Thank you, Moto. I'll end it there. See you at the top. Great.